Much attention is given to the legendary two-man tag teams in wrestling history, but we mustn't overlook the equally remarkable trios that have contributed some of the industry's most memorable moments over the years. Today, we aim to explore and determine the top-tier three-man wrestling acts in history. The NWO. Let's begin by delving into one of the most successful trios in wrestling history, particularly in terms of box office impact, and that's the original formation of the NWO. While the NWO would later grow to include a vast number of members, its early days were a masterstroke, making it feel like an invading force waging guerrilla warfare against WCW. The genesis of this iconic group occurred on the May 19, 1996 episode of Nitro when Scott Hall, who had recently departed from the WWF, appeared in the crowd and announced his intention to initiate a hostile takeover. A few weeks later, he was joined by former WWF champion Kevin Nash, and they adopted the moniker, The Outsiders, causing chaos every time they crashed the ring. The premise was that both men had been dispatched by Vince McMahon to infiltrate and potentially dismantle the competition. However, the storyline reached another level of intensity at Bash at the Beach on July 7 when the perennial babyface, Hulk Hogan, shocked the world by turning on the fans and aligning with the Outsiders, giving birth to the NWO. This turn of events marked the inception of one of the most game-changing storylines in wrestling history. Following this pivotal moment, Hogan, Hall, and Nash continuously disrupted Nitro episodes, resembling a gang of thugs wreaking havoc. The chaos escalated to such an extent that fans, at times, felt compelled to call the police, fearing the brawls were getting too real. However, the initial excitement of this three-man faction challenging the world couldn't last indefinitely. To adapt to the ever-growing roster, new members like the Giant, Ted DiBiase, and Syxx were added. While this expansion didn't necessarily diminish the NWO's appeal, it signaled the eventual inclusion of numerous members that became difficult to keep track of. Nevertheless, this should not detract from the fact that during the initial phase when it was just the trio of former WWF stars bending WCW to their will, it was an almost flawless storyline. The Shield, undoubtedly a groundbreaking force, ignited an unparalleled level of excitement in 2012. For those who may not have been following wrestling at the time, it's challenging to convey the immense anticipation that surged when, at the conclusion of a triple-threat world title clash featuring CM Punk, John Cena, and Ryback during the November 18 Survivor Series, a trio of mysterious figures, previously unfamiliar to the main roster audience, emerged and laid waste to everyone in their path. It was akin to a jolt of pure adrenaline revitalizing a show that had been waning in quality after the missteps of the Summer of Punk. Fortunately for fans, this wasn't merely a one-night sensation. As the weeks unfolded, these enigmatic figures, revealed to be Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins, continued to mete out their own brand of renegade justice wherever they ventured. However, what truly set the Shield apart as one of the greatest trios wasn't solely their audacious actions, it was the distinctive roles each member played in their collective endeavors. Ambrose, the lunatic fringe, embodied the unpredictable wild card, ready to explode at any moment. Rollins served as the mastermind, orchestrating their operations and ensuring everything moved smoothly. Reigns, the silent yet imposing force, preferred to let his fists speak for him. When these three facets united, they formed an indomitable and seamless machine that seemed impervious to defeat. During their initial months on the roster, they defied all challengers. Be it John Cena, Randy Orton, Kane, Daniel Bryan, or anyone else thrown at them, the Shield emerged victorious, exhibiting a near-flawless armor as a unit. This unprecedented dominance resulted in an unusual occurrence for that era. Over the span of 18 months, the company transformed three relatively unknown talents into bona fide superstars. As a testament to their impact, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins have risen to become three of the most prominent figures in the industry today. The Wyatt family. Our next focus shifts to a trio that served as a significant rival to the Shield during the early 2010s, the Wyatt family. They stood out not for their tactical warfare but for their mastery of psychological warfare. How did they stack up against the great trios? Surprisingly well, as the original Wyatt family, composed of Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan, made a lasting impact after their debut in the summer of 2013. The key to their allure was undoubtedly their eerie and unsettling throwback gimmick. WWE had a genuine gem in their hands, and the audience's attention was captivated. What set them apart as a compelling trio, apart from their gimmick, was their collective effectiveness when they functioned as a unit. While their approach was distinct from the Shield's, as Bray often directed his minions from the sidelines, the results were equally formidable. It's important to acknowledge that, despite the challenges of poor booking that later plagued the Wyatt family, it was not their fault. Whenever they stepped into the ring to fulfill their duties, they remained a force to be reckoned with. Harper and Rowan embodied the role of ruthless enforcers, ready to battle relentlessly, while Bray Wyatt himself was the mastermind, consistently seeking innovative ways to manipulate others. Therefore, even in the face of adversity and creative struggles, their ability to maintain their impact solidifies their place in the discussion of great wrestling trios. Too Cool. During the turn of the millennium, another trio made their mark. Their path to fame was all about dancing for the infectious trio known as Too Cool. Initially established as a duo comprising Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty in late 1999, their act truly ascended to the next level when Rikishi joined a few months later. The sight of two goofballs dancing their hearts out each week had its undeniable charm, but the addition of a 400-pound Samoan powerhouse took their act to an entirely new stratosphere. They weren't just about dancing, they also packed a punch in the ring. Over the course of their run, Scotty and Grandmaster secured a one-time tag team championship. Scotty held the light heavyweight championship, and Rikishi became an intercontinental champion. By the early 2000s, their reputation in the ring had grown to the point where they mixed it up with main event acts like D-Generation X and the Radicals. Yet, more than their battles, Too Cool is best remembered for their light-hearted moments. For instance, during the 2000 Royal Rumble, they famously halted the entire match for a dance break, creating one of the most iconic moments in the Rumble's history. Additionally, Rikishi's stink face move, usually performed with his partners laughing on the sidelines, left an indelible mark. Sadly, the faction's fun-filled days didn't last long. In the autumn of 2000, WWF took a puzzling turn by turning Rikishi into a heel, revealing him as the person who had run over Steve Austin the previous year. This heel turn signaled the end of Too Cool, despite the fact that no one wanted Rikishi to be a villain. The departure of Too Cool marked the end of the good times filled with dancing, as the company now focused on pushing Rikishi to the main event level. In hindsight, it's clear that leaving him alongside Scotty 2 Hotty and Grandmaster Sexay could have propelled him to similar success and retained the infectious charm of Too Cool. The New Day, an enduring trio that still thrives almost a decade later, traces its origins back to 2014 when the group was initially introduced. Back then, few would have predicted their sustained success, given their initially cheesy portrayal that quickly drew the ire of fans. Fortunately, Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods had a strategy to navigate this challenging situation. They decided to embrace the negativity and turn heel. By leaning into being the most arrogant villains they could be, they managed to capture the audience's attention and turn the tide of public opinion. Consequently, people began to appreciate their work, and when they eventually returned to their babyface personas, they found themselves embraced by fans as enduring fan favorites. After all, their gimmick essentially revolved around three geeky guys who enjoyed playful antics and quoting their favorite video games. Their bond as friends and their unwavering support for one another played a pivotal role in their success. They have held the tag team championships 12 times, using the Freebird rule, and have been each other's biggest supporters when pursuing singles careers. This support was instrumental in Kofi and Big E's respective WWE Championship victories in 2019 and 2021. The New Day's story is a testament to the enduring power of friendship, as, unlike many other wrestling acts that eventually turn on each other, they continue to stand strong both on and off the screen.